Welcome to the Unwashed Asses, episode 62, recorded for Monday, December 2nd, 2018. It's so cold out, and I feel that this is going to be a common complaint throughout this winter because it just hits. It hits me like a brick wall or club to the face, and I'm left reeling going, oh my god, it's cold. Be A-okay, and then just all of a sudden, I get really, really cold. Chilled to the bone. There's no warming me up despite all the coffee and hot chocolate and gas station warm beverages. There's no warming me up. And apparently there's no getting rid of this dog shit smell that has infested my truck. I know I've said it before. I will say it again, that if you own a dog and you do not pick up said dog droppings after, Fido's gone and made his business, you are one of the worst human beings out there. And it's at the point in the year where we have random snow piles because, yay, global warming. It'll snow, it'll melt, it'll snow, it'll melt, and now we just have shitty patches of mud and snow everywhere. But the snow sometimes hides dog shit. And the mud, it blends right into the dog shit to the point of my boots look totally free and clean of dog poop, and I'm paying attention and trying to miss it as I walk around yards. But the unmistakable smell assails my nostrils and leaves me reeling as I start my truck and the floor heater kicks in and the pungent aroma of dog shit hits my nose. It's terrible. And there's no fucking getting rid of it. I apparently stepped in something yesterday, and it was bad. It was really, really bad. Again, I checked my boots. I couldn't see any dog shit in there, and the problem is that I have newer boots, and so the treads in them are deep, and they hold on to everything. So I'll take a stick or something and scrape them out just to be certain, but once the smell of shit's in the cab, there's no getting rid of it. It was awful, and to the point where I didn't want to drink anything in my truck, and I'm driving around with the window down, and it's not touching, it's not even scratching this horrible aroma. So I busted out some Febreze because that's another thing I have to keep, because I shouldn't say most, some folks just aren't clean. They're disgusting individuals who will laugh and joke that, I'm sure you've seen worse, or you haven't seen worse, my house is a mess. And it's like, why are you joking about this? You should be ashamed. You should be feeling nothing but absolute dread at the fact that someone has come over, a stranger, and your home is in disarray. Not only in disarray, but I'm kneeling in mystery stains, and there's clearly cat puke and piss and shit that's been not really cleaned up off the floor. Or it's a smoker who just, was lighting their next off the last, and I come out, smelling like a bar on a Saturday night in the 90s, because apparently you can't smoke in bars anymore. So I picked up a trick from a fellow technician and got myself some Febreze, and, I'll douse myself after said smelly jobs, and I thought to myself, well, I have Febreze. I am prepared for the dog shit apocalypse. Let's douse the truck and see how well it holds. And it held amazingly well for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes, my nose was ignorant to the machinations of the feces trying to assault me. And after said 10 minutes was up, we move into a period of several hours where I have dog shit scented Febreze just permeating every inch of my truck. So the window has to get rolled back down, and after those few hours have gone by, then we're just back to the smell of dog shit. Despite the freezing temperatures, the foulness has persisted, and we're now in day 2. I don't know if I'm getting used to it or if it's finally dying down, but it's not as bad. It's still unpleasant, though. Sorry, I'm going to be drinking a lot. No, fucking dogs. Like, I don't mind dogs. They're enjoyable. They're a lot of fun to play with, but they are so potent in their scent. Even, like you know the unmistakable smell of dog shit. It's clearly a dog that laid that. And the same as like when you pet them. Even if the dog is clean, I can just smell the dog stink on my hands, and it drives me insane. And I eventually would like to get a dog, but I don't know how I'm going to cope with that, or if it's like having a baby, you don't mind it if it's your own. But it's one of those things like, no, now that I'm like keenly aware of the smell of dog fur, they're not sleeping in the bed. Not at all. The cats can, but not the dog. And then the dog breath when they lick, and it's like, ugh. Why is everything about a dog turned up to 11 in the smell department? It's terrible. It's terrible. Oh well. That's not what I'm here to talk about. Here to talk about the absolutely phenomenal Daredevil Season 3. Recently wrapped it up. I was able to finish the last episode and a half. It had been a while since I had sat down with any of the Marvel shows, mostly because I haven't had Netflix in a while, but I was able to burn through Season 2 of Jessica Jones, and it was good. Not as good as the first season, which was just stellar, but it's still a solid entry. It's an enjoyable watch. There were a couple things that definitely, caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting them, and there they were, surprising me. But Daredevil Season 3 was... Daredevil, it stands on its own in terms of the Netflix Marvel series in regards to quality, where all 3 seasons have been really, really strong. They've been well-produced, well-paced, beautifully shot, just absolutely gorgeous and engaging visuals. I think the intro alone stands as a unique and definitely in the top as far as intros are concerned with the TV series. Which is strange when you compare it to like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones or even Iron Fist, and now that I've recently seen it, Punisher, it's just head and shoulders above. And I think the same holds true for the quality of the show itself, where not only is the show better shot, but the characters are more engaging. Like I enjoy Jessica Jones and her various sidekicks, but I didn't care for them in the same way that I did with, Foggy and Karen Page and Daredevil. To the point where I don't even remember their names in the other series. Luke Cage, I couldn't even get through the first season. I've heard the second season's better, but I don't know that I can jump into the second season without finishing the first. Is that something I can skip? Same thing with Iron Fist. I tried so hard to get into that series, but it was nothing but, I am the immortal Iron Fist. How'd it go? I am Danny Rand, defender of Kunlun, the immortal Iron Fist, and just every 5 minutes, and there's just nothing going on. Like, I get it, it's a semi-political thriller, a long-lost child trying to regain company fortunes and fighting with corporate espionage, more so than political. And when it did come time to fight, he wasn't in charge of his power, and it took too long to build for not any good payoff. But when you get them all wrapped up into, like, the Defenders, the overarching story and stronger characters like Jessica Jones and Daredevil and even Punisher are... Well, he wasn't in Defenders, but the point still stands that these stronger... I don't know that they're more developed, but they're more engaging characters, are able to carry the weaker ones through. And even to the point where characters like Luke Cage and Iron Fist pair well together. And it makes sense because, they were buddies in the comics. But that chemistry and connection clearly comes through in the TV show, and they're made all the better for it, to the point where I would almost want to see like Iron Fist and Luke Cage run as one show together, where like each episode alternates between the two characters, eventually intertwining the stories. But when it comes to like the standalones, I can't recommend Daredevil highly enough. We get to see the return of Vincent D'Onofrio's utterly fantastic Kingpin. And Kingpin was a character that I had, much like Daredevil, I did not care for at all. Like it's not like I hated them, but I had no interest in them. The only real remembrance I had of Kingpin was in relations to like Spider-Man. Like, the very first Spider-Man comic I read, he was fighting against Kingpin, and Kingpin's hanging out by his pool, and some minion displeases him, so he lifts up a roll of fat, has the minion's head placed underneath, and then sandwiches his fat down on top of him, suffocating him. And I was like, I don't know, 5 at the time. I'm just beginning to read, like, Jesus Christ, that's terrible. But beyond that, the only times I really saw him were in the animated Spider-Man show from the 90s. And he was almost comical in his buffoonery with, you know, he's got the big white suit, he's obviously a crime boss, and he didn't really seem dangerous. He's just a big, fat Mr. Clean, essentially. But that first season of Daredevil really... It made him relatable, it solidified him as a person, and gave him a presence that, I mean, I would say he's even more imposing than, like, Thanos in the MCU. Because Thanos is, like, this threat that seems far away. Like, he can't touch you. But Kingpin, he can touch you, and he will. And he has a way of creeping into everybody's lives and exerting this power and control. And it almost seems like, you know, especially in season 3, where they were building this character up to be so strong and indestructible, and there's nothing that Daredevil can do as either Daredevil or as, super lawyer Matt Murdock to bring him down. And it almost gets to that point, and then, nope, we find that one thing that can bring him down and can break him, and we're going to go for it. And I was leery of them bringing Kingpin back for season 3, but it worked so wonderfully well. And of course, they're going to do the thing where they have to, you know, increase the villain count as the series goes on. Where, you know, the first series we have Kingpin, the second we have Punisher, who is then taken care of in the first half of the season, and then we have Elektra that's brought into the second half. And then season 3, it's almost entirely facing foes on two fronts in the form of not only Kingpin, but Bullseye. And Bullseye, again, is one of those other characters, and pretty much everybody in the Daredevil universe, like, they didn't really catch my attention. But, you know, the only other real experience I have with him is, you know, Colin Farrell's just absolutely laughable portrayal in the Ben Affleck Daredevil film. It was just bad from top to bottom. But they did something interesting in that, you know, like the iconic thing with Daredevil, like his big pivotal moment is when Bullseye kills Elektra. And, you know, Elektra is obviously Daredevil's one true love. Bullseye takes her away. But they didn't do that in the series, you know, and they introduce Bullseye well after Elektra's death, but he's nonetheless menacing and very much a mirror to what Daredevil is and who he is and what he stands for. And they give him such a creepy twist in this that it's not only just disturbing, but it's unsettling in his mannerisms and what he does. And I don't know who the actor is. I should look it up, but I won't. He just is absolutely wonderful in his performance. And it makes me sad that now, after the series ended on such a high note, and everything did kind of get wrapped up very nicely. There's no threads leading to a Defenders 2, and it makes sense because Netflix is canceling these shows one right after the other. I think the first one to get the announcement was Luke Cage. Luke Cage or Iron Fist got canceled first, and then the other one followed. We just now got word that Daredevil was canceled, which obviously means then that Defenders 2 won't ever happen. Jessica Jones is the only one that hasn't been canceled yet, aside from Punisher, but I don't know that Punisher was ever renewed for a second season. I just started that one, and so far I'm not super impressed with it. But the leading theory seems to be that, Disney's been working hard on putting together their own streaming service, and so it would only make sense that they would cancel the shows on Netflix and then continue them on their own streaming service to try and drive traffic. Because not only are they going to have, Mickey Mouse and all the traditional Disney stuff, but they have the entire Star Wars library to pull from and the entire Marvel library to pull from. So if they can get that all consolidated in one place, great. The only thing that doesn't make sense is I think some other company right now still has streaming rights to Star Wars, and that might be until the mid-2020s. Whereas with the Marvel Netflix series, again, like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and all those, the seasons that are already out are going to remain on Netflix. So I don't know if it's a thing where they have exclusive rights, or if Disney's going to be able to put up the old seasons as well as on their own separate service. But it's disheartening because we're getting it to the point now where there are too many streaming services doing too many different things. Like, we have DC streaming service, we have Disney streaming service, we have CBS All Access, we have HBO. Everybody's trying to get their hand into this pie, and it's almost like a weird circle jerk back to, well, I just want to get everything. Can I just get one package, like a cable package? So, I don't know. It's too expensive to be subscribed to all this stuff. And it's almost to the point where I want to do it, like putting on a different persona every other month. Like, all right, I'm going to let this one show release and build up, and then when I'm ready to binge it, I'm going to make a trial account, watch it all, cancel said trial, and then if something else pops up later, make another trial account. It's all fucked up. But for the time being, if you haven't delved into Daredevil on Netflix, do yourself a favor. It's 3 seasons. Each one of them is absolutely riveting and engaging. There's very few dull episodes that don't really advance the plot in any way. There are some there, but it's few and far between. For the most part, it's a great series to binge. But I don't know, I'm curious, should I go back and finish Punisher and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and give them another shot? I don't know. Punisher is the only one I haven't, well, it's a lie. I just started it. I'm tempted just to give up on it. But let me know your thoughts. Any thoughts, comments, questions, criticisms, critiques, or compliments, you can always email us, theunwashedasses@gmail.com. Again, that's theunwashedasses@gmail.com. And if you like supporting the show, I'd greatly appreciate it. $1 a month's all I ask. Head over to patreon.com/zeroand09. That's ZEROAND09. Again, $1 a month's all I ask. It, keeps the shows running, pays for hosting costs, and then if we can make it to $100 a month, then we get to make the shows 5 a week instead of 3 a week. So, looking forward to that. But if you can't, I understand. I get it. Just tell a friend. Let somebody know. But otherwise, we'll be back Wednesday. Not sure what we'll talk about, but we'll have something ready for you then.